I'm looking in a mirror, staring at my eyes. Here comes the rain, pouring down my face like the tears of a million days. Crying my soul.
Are we on? Okay. All right. Okay. I think we got it. I tell you, take it from me. This is going to be a funky show today. All right. So hold on. Everybody, hold on to somebody. The devil is trying his best to turn things on. Yes, so we're just going to get right to the meat of things. Ordinarily, I would ask you all to have something, but just let's hold on and let's see where it goes from here. We have a special guest, Melissa Caston. And Sister Caston, are you still there with us?
I am here.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes. And I'm so grateful that you have waited so patiently today. And we're going to start off, we're going to let you talk about the church hurt, the experience that you had in your life. And we're going to see where we can come in and everybody can add to or whatever the Lord will lead us to do. All right. Go ahead, Melissa.
So this subject that you're having today, I was asked to share a story when I was a little girl, maybe about the age of 12 years of age. And I really wondered, how would it play a part on church hurt? And so I thought about it for several days, and even talking with Evangelist Camper, and what she said to me is what I thought about. And so I'm going to share the story. And the story consists of when I was about 12 years of age, and how my mom allowed me to be responsible enough to walk home. And in between this walk, supposedly neighbor asked me to show him to the neighborhood store. In between showing him to the store, he ended up pulling me into a building. And when he pulled me into this building, it went from being a lit up, lighted area to becoming a dark area. And right off, I knew that it was not a good situation. Um, in the midst of that, I end up in this room, and in this room was like this big sump pump or well area. And so in in the midst of it, right off, I'm like, I couldn't get out of the situation. I didn't know what to do. And right off, I'm like, you're gonna die. And this is what I'm thinking as a 12-year-old. I'm going to die. And right off, I began to start to cry. And as I began to start to cry, this man said to me, "Don't you start crying." And so I began to try to gather myself to not break down, because I didn't want to upset this person. And so in the midst of that, he started asking me questions like, do you mess with boys? Do you hang out in the street? And right off, I'm like, no, I don't do those things. I'm not allowed to do those things. And God began to give me things to say. And right off in my head, I'm like, I supposed to be at church. I supposed to, and I'm saying this to this person, I'm supposed to be a choir rehearsal. He's like, shut up. He didn't want to hear it. And so he began to like kiss me, and then he asked me to pull off my bottom. And so I began to refuse to take off my bottom. And then I started saying, my mom is looking for me. I have to be at church. And so he it made him upset even more. And he was like, shut up before I throw you down this well.
Oh my God.
And so in the midst of him saying that, I got even more frightened. And I'm like, maybe I shouldn't say anything. But as I began to think of, this man is going to rape me and kill me. Mm-hmm. I said to him, I said, do you hear that? And the man said to me, he said, shut up. I don't hear anything. You shut up. Shut up. And so in the midst of that, he still was trying to get me to take off clothing and prepare me for this rape. And so as he got my underwear off, he began to fondle me. And as he's fondling me, I said, stop, I hear. Don't you hear the footsteps? And he's saying to me, shut up, be quiet. And I said to him, I said, I know this building. My mom's friend lives in this building. I know she's looking for me. I'm supposed to be at church. And so he said to me, be quiet. And so as I began to make up more and more things about me being at church and my family looking for me, and telling him I hear someone coming for me, it frightened him to the point where the final time I said to him, I said, I hear somebody coming. He snatched me up. And when he snatched me up, he started taking me through this dark room area, up some stairs, and he started heading towards another dark area. And this other dark area, you can see where we like going towards a door. And in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm about to die. And so as he's dragging me towards this door, he reached for the handle, and the lights from the outside started shining. And as it shined through, I started running down the alley. And as I'm running, I run into the arms of a police officer. And I'm running past the police officer, and he said, stop. Are you Melissa? And if he wouldn't have said my name, I would have just kept running. He said, your mother is looking for you. And so as he said that was the only reason why I stopped, for that reason, because at that point I didn't trust anybody. And so during the midst of that, getting back with my family and going to the hospital for the exams, and after leaving the hospital, coming home, and I came home to family gathered. They were gathered and they were talking and gathered like they did as me as a child when we would go to my Auntie Jessie house, and they would just sit and talk and the kids would play. And so right off, I didn't get it. I'm like, this tragic thing just happened to me, and it was just a social thing. And I didn't at that time have anybody to like sit and comfort me or sit and talk to me. And even when I guess the authorities played their part with, I guess, getting counseling together. And but as that child, and as a Christian child, and even growing up in it, I never had what I felt like I needed, even though I knew that love of my family being there when that happened. But I didn't have that actual someone to embrace me, or someone to sit and talk to me about the situation or how I felt. I believe my family, because they were Christian, believed that God would fix it. And in reality, I believed in God because God got me out that jam. But mentally, I needed more. Maybe if I had that counseling with someone in my church environment, that would have helped. It would have showed that they care and they supported me in that situation. But I looked at it then and still kind of now that the way the church society was, it was like God would fix it in due time. You'll get over it. Pray about it, and you do it. You pray about it. You try to go get past all the situation, but it's still what how in the church do you support a child or a young lady or a young man in that situation without just them feeling the way I felt.
Wow. Oh, let me say, as being your mother, when that happened, and I went into the hospital, emergency people said, "Do not make her." And this is the first time I heard your story. You understand? They said, "Let her tell you the story. Do not question her." But I'm gonna tell you something. When you came up, you are my listener. I asked God for a daughter. You're so precious to me. When you came up missing, I immediately ran to the 2 or 3 stores that was in our area. And when I ran back and forth through those stores and couldn't find you, ran up and down the aisles, I stopped in the middle of the street, threw my hands up and hollered, "My God, my God, my child, my child." We didn't have cell phones, but I got on the line. Them people you saw, see, that's a child's perspective. 30 years later, you carry this, and the devil's making you think that this was the gossip crew. Them was the prayer warriors that saved you. I got on that phone, and some of them I couldn't even tell the complete story to, that you were missing. And I began to pray. And when I called the police, I still was trying to run through. They took your little sister. If you remember, when that police car, they said, "You got to stay home and see if any phone calls come in." But they took her to help the them. I'm gonna tell you something else. A year or two later, when that man was caught, the police said to me, "This man did not like girls. He got caught no less than a boy, and that family tried to kill him." The day I went to get you, I didn't tell the school or anything because they said, "Don't discuss this." I said, "I need an early dismissal." And they said, "Do not tell her why you taking her to the police station." And they took you back there, and they came back. They said, "We got him. We got him." And that mother cried, and she said, "Please help me press charges. Please, would you stay in here until they get this man?" I said, "Yes." They decided to charge him on different counts. And they wanted to give him 2 sentences. So your trial and the young man that was molested, and I mean his life, I can't even imagine, because he did mess this child's physical body up. Me and that lady, not too long ago, maybe within 5 or 10 years ago, I found her number and called her. But this is the thing, that man is still in jail. And no telling how many charges they found after he went there. But believe me, the prayers are the same. When I stopped there and threw my hands up in the air and started hollering, I didn't have time to say Heavenly Father or nothing. I just said, "God, my child, Lord." That's all I could tell him. And those prayers went down in the horrible pit and covered you because you're mine. Mm-hmm. They said somebody prayed for you. Them saints was praying for you. They weren't talking about you. And I went to that place. First, policeman didn't take it serious. But when I went to that place and I saw that big skunk pup, the biggest thing I ever seen, yes, little as you were, the small frame person, he could have ground you up in there. That thing was grinding stuff up, looked like. So I thank God that testimony is to be shared. And the reason why things happen to us is for experiences. And yeah, why me? Why not? Somebody's going through it.
Thank you, Sister Caston and Melissa. I'm so happy that you're sharing your
I am
testimony.
too.
I'm
I
full.
am.
And I just want to talk to the little 12-year-old girl.
Yes.
And I'm sorry that we didn't understand your problem. But we were praying. And like Sister Caston said, he said, my child's been kidnapped. That's all we needed to know.
That's all we need to know.
And we were in victory because God brought you out.
Yes.
And we didn't understand that we needed to find out where you were at that time. And the police, they have their procedures and people have their procedures, but we were not allowed to just, in our novice way, talk to you. And we couldn't just inquire about things because we didn't want to hurt you any worse.
That's right. That's right.
So I'm just sorry today for me that I didn't know how to help you. And I felt like when you called me the first time, I said, she wants to share something. So that hurt is still there. And I want you to know we love you.
Yes, we do.
You're a fine mother, and God had a destiny for you.
Yes.
The devil wanted to cut it off. You're multi-talented.
Yes.
You have so much to live for. And I don't want that to be a hindrance in your life. You're not the only young woman that's been hurt.
That's right.
But as you share that story, other women will be saying, I can make it.
That's right.
And other mothers, like Sister Caston, can say, I didn't know you felt that way.
I never heard the
And
story.
believe it or not,
Never heard it.
you're not the only one, because my children could sometimes come back and say, did you know so-and-so happened?
Uh-huh.
No, I didn't know it
Didn't
happened.
know it.
I didn't know it happened. And if I had known it was happening, I didn't have the tools to prepare me to help you. So today we need to ask forgiveness while we have the blood running warm in our vein. And I'm so sorry, little 12-year-old Melissa, that man took you and invaded your tender young life. But don't let that stop you.
Don't let it stop.
That's only a body. But I want you to go down into your heart and ask God, Lord, whatever he took me through is for your glory.
All right.
So I'm so grateful to you for coming on. And I don't know who may want to share today. My heart is just full today because I feel like there's a breakthrough in this place.
Thank God. Melissa, let me say too, thank God you didn't become an alcoholic, a drug addict, a prostitute. But because of the love of the church, that's the plus, and the people that love you, for young ones, I'm not ashamed to be your mother. So somebody went through this and will go through this and to a destructive life. So then that's where you can say, you can make it. This is what I went through. You can make it.
I wanted to say that was my first time really in detail sharing that story. Like my mom said, I never shared it with her.
No.
And I think since I've gotten older, our bond is really close. I thank my aunt Velma for having me share this story because, like you said, it's a ministry for someone else.
And it frees you.
And I believe, even as a child, the different things that happened, that the devil was trying to prevent me from being the person that I know that's within me. I believe I'm a blessing to people.
Yes.
And I believe in a lot of things that I do for people in this world, and I'm not doing enough. And I really thank the women and my uncles and my grandparents for the upbringing that they gave us, because a lot of people who grew up in church can't look back and say, I remember the times we would sit at dinner together or go to the carnival together, and we did a lot of churching together. Even though we were all at different churches, we look forward to being with each other. And that bond with those women at that table, I believe that those prayers was shouted out to God, and I believe that those prayers is what helped bring me out that situation. And I believe that upbringing that was given to me is what gave me that thought of those prayers, and I need to be at church to get me out that situation.
Yeah.
And I thank you all for a lot of things that you all instilled in us. But me just bringing up the church part of it is because on the worldly side of it, it is, you bring up those questions of what could have been done for that child Melissa to make her, because I had a lot of self-esteem issues. What could have been done to encourage her, to push her to be better, to be greater? And the church is not perfect. The church, and a lot of people do look at it as their God, and they should be a certain way and do certain things, but they are men and women just like we are as members. And so just from the outside looking in, how people look at it and do feel like, well, what you could have done better. And in reality, if without God for myself, I don't think I would have gotten out that situation.
That's right. That's right.
Amen. All right. Anyone else?
We just thank the Lord for her testimony. The overcome. The words of your testimony, that was it was puzzled. I didn't know if I was there, but I know I heard it, and so sad. And always try to send a prayer. I know God's got to express angels. As you told the story, the angels was all around you. You couldn't see it, but
Yeah,
you could
yeah,
come out.
yes,
And the blessings,
yes.
deliverance come out.
Yeah.
And you can say, your
Yeah,
angel, I
glory.
am
Thank you,
saved.
Lord.
I am
Thank you,
delivered
Lord.
from that thing.
Thank you,
Don't
Lord.
let it rest in your heart.
Yes,
Hallelujah.
Put it in the garbage can.
Thank you,
So he
Jesus.
told us to cast all our cares.
Yeah, God.
But
Yes.
he cared. Throw it away.
Yeah,
Just
God.
over with. Now you got children.
Yes, Jesus.
Advise them. Be careful for nothing. And then I believe it helped them. That testimony was outstanding.
It's heart touching. I remember as a young girl, my grandmother used to say, especially if she saw you deep pregnant, like 6 months to 9, she said, baby, put some prayers on your shelf. And as I began to have children, I realized what's in you is going to come out. You got the Holy Spirit in you, you get in labor, you'll say, oh, Jesus, oh, Jesus. But if you don't, you're going to be cursing out the nurse, cursing out the doctor, and fighting on that table. I say all that to say this, that having prayers on the shelf, I didn't have time to say, Heavenly Father, my child is lost. And I didn't have time to go. And I called that man one night. I know God heard me. I know he heard me. And that is how instant we have to be in prayer. That in itself is a testimony. Is that when you need the Lord, you need to be able to have enough prayer that you can call him and he know you and he hear your voice. And he don't let nothing happen to you. He did that for you, but he did it for me too. Because of the blood and the blood that covered. Same with our corona. The blood that's covered. Am I still walking through the corona? The blood. We're going to have some prayers up. But the church is a group of people. And quite often my pastor and co-pastor, when somebody get through speaking, they pray for the speaker. And that's because they have given something up. And we have to pray for our leaders. The Bible said, pray for our leaders. Pray for those in the church. There are a lot of people that's naive. I come from the hood, and then I got some people in my congregation that didn't come from the hood. And between the two, they can tell me something, and I can tell them something, and it equals out. We have various branches and body in the body of Christ. And I'm glad you shared your testimony. You should share with other people. But because I listen to educated, intelligent, educated social workers, I never got around to hearing the story that I heard today. And it did touch me.
You know, to whom much is given. Do we have a caller? I think we have a caller.
Thank you, Melissa, for your brave testimony. We have another person we'd like to add to the show.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I'm kind of full right now because listening to Melissa's testimony takes me back when the incident occurred and we were home and my mother called me in the room to let me know that you had been kidnapped.
Over.
And as a child, that was something that I couldn't handle. And you and I coming up were very close. And the only thing I knew how to do at the time was pray.
Yes.
Because, you know, you hear stories in the news about children not recovering from kidnap. And so listening to that just kind of took me back and made me a little emotional, you know. And I applaud you today for telling your story.
Yes.
Because it takes a great amount of bravery to recount something like that, something that people will put away forever because they don't want to talk about it or relive the moment. But know that you are helping someone and you have helped many.
Yeah.
As a mother, you know, just remembering things like that, and then, you know, my own personal experiences, it makes me very protective of my children. But it's also, as a parent, disheartening to know that no matter how you try to protect your children, there comes a point when, as a parent, you can't protect them. And so it comes down to, what can I put in them that will protect them in those moments when I'm not there? So the greatest thing our parents gave us was God, telling us about Jesus. And that's what you were able to use or pull from in that moment. You were able to, you know, tap into the spiritual realm and allow God to speak through you. So, you know, I tell people all the time, make a joke even to my mother, you're not the type of mother that bake cookies, you know. I believe our parents did the best that they knew how. You know, they raised, there's no instruction book on how to raise children, but I believe they did the best that they knew how based on what they were taught. And so, if anything, one thing that I've gathered from my upbringing is the greatest thing my parents could have ever done was introduce me to Jesus, because that's something I'll never forget. Even when you stray away from it. You all excuse me, we're still in quarantine. But you know, I really commend you today, Melissa. I really applaud you, and I encourage you, you know, as you're telling your story, which is part of your recovery and healing, that you also write a letter to that 12-year-old girl. Write a letter to her and tell her, sometimes we blame ourselves for things that happen to us, and we feel like, well, I could have done this, I could have done that. Apologize to her.
That's right.
And then ask her to forgive those who she might have thought were not protecting her, or to forgive those who might not have shown her comfort during that time.
That's right.
And then when you're done writing to that 12-year-old girl, burn that letter up. Because all of those things are behind you now. And you are a phenomenal mother.
Yes.
You know, to have been a teenage mother, you have done a phenomenal job with your children. So, you know, thank God you're still here to even tell the story.
It's good. Purpose.
You know, to whom much is given, much is required. And I've never been on drugs, so I can't really preach about drugs. But the person that God saved who has been on drugs can tell the story.
That's right.
Can't nobody tell your story. You know your story, and you have to preach it. And a lot of times when you tell your story, people don't want to hear it, or they say that's irrelevant. But God didn't bring you out for nothing.
That's right.
And today you
Absolutely.
touched a lot of old hearts, as well as new hearts, as well as hearts that are to come. Because there's nothing new under the sun. What has been will come again. I remember when I was a girl, we all slept in the bed together. It was like about 6 of us in one bed. And there was an open window, and people could go up the stairs. You know, you didn't have real good housing for people that had children. And when I woke up one night, a man was pulling me out the window, but God woke me up.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Hallelujah, Jesus.
Thank you, Lord.
I remember sitting up in the bed, and he was just pulling me out of the,
Yes.
out of the window.
Slowly pulling you out.
And I began to scream,
Thank
and
you,
all
Lord.
my sisters and brothers woke up and started screaming, and he was so afraid he let me go.
Yes.
But it brought so much fear in my life from that moment on. I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want to be alone by myself. I didn't want to travel by myself. It was so many things that I suffered because of that.
Thank you, Jesus.
But God, and you know, I've always told my testimony everywhere because my mother always said, don't keep no secrets
Thank
of
you,
the devil.
Thank you,
And the
Lord.
more you keep, if I had kept that in, it could have gotten even worse. They
Thank
never
you,
found him. But I thank God because God is a deliverer. And I thank the Lord for you, Melissa, because I can only talk to the little girl that was there that day. And I can only tell her that we praise for you.
Yeah.
And we know that it wasn't your wisdom that says somebody's listening and somebody's coming.
no.
But God put that in your
Yes, He
mind
did.
and put that in your heart because He heard our prayer.
Yes. Yes.
And then you said somebody's coming in. And even though the devil was raging, he was afraid somebody was going to catch him.
God
Ain't no
was
telling how many children he killed.
Thank
He
you,
didn't
Jesus.
mean. He wanted you to die and not live.
Yeah.
And by him being a servant of the devil,
Yes, Lord.
he said, I'll kill her so she
Thank
won't
you.
preach the word.
Thank you,
I'll
Lord.
kill her so she won't tell another person that you're real. But God said, no, you won't. You will walk her out of this place.
Thank you.
You didn't have to do it, but he did. So I thank God for you today. I know it was not easy. And you are a mother and you have children. And the more you keep something and you don't tell people, the more the devil put dirt on it, make it very deeper and deeper. But today you going to live and not die.
Yeah.
God's going to take you to a new higher height and a deeper depth. And I thank the Lord for you. That is a ministry, Melissa. When we started this ministry, God gave me to help people get started in their own business. And I've seen the Lord do some marvelous things in the Belmont Temple ministry. And God has been blessing. Some people come back to me and they say, well, how was that a blessing? How was that a blessing? I don't know. And I'm not trying to because I'm just an ambassador for the Lord. I'm just doing his will.
Yes.
And you know, today on behalf of the Belmont Temple ministry, I feel like you got a message to give and carry. I feel like I want to invest in your testimony, and we're going to give you $500 to take it to a higher height of a deeper depth. That you may tell us that to a higher. I heard Brian say you need to write a letter. God might say write many letters.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. The masks that are on our face. God is saying, pull your mask off, Melissa. Live and don't die. Hallelujah. Glory to God. Wonderful Jesus. Glory to God. Wonderful Jesus.
If you didn't have God on
Glory
your
to
side,
God.
you wouldn't have known for that.
Yes,
You probably backslide. See, the devil, a backslide. I've heard people say he's walking down the street, and somebody wants to do harm, but angels was around him.
Yeah, God.
See, backsliders know where to cut off.
Mhm.
Somebody took him to church one time in his life, and it meant something
Yeah, God.
that I have a child of God. And you know, I thank God.
Hallelujah.
I thank God that you did know
Yeah, God.
whose name. You could have said the police,
Mm-hmm.
but yet somebody was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Them prayers was like,
Hey, glory.
them prayers was making noise.
Yes, Jesus.
And you know what? He didn't hear the noise,
Mhm.
but just by you speaking it into existence, he was looking for help.
Yes.
Thank
yes,
you, Jesus.
Yes.
I thank God.
Hallelujah, Jesus.
Thank
Wonderful.
you. Somebody else tell me to
Do we have a caller?
Yes, we have a caller like to say hello to everyone. Go ahead, caller.
Y'all can hear me?
Yes, go ahead. They can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello, this is King. I just wanted to say hello to everyone.
Hello,
All right.
King. How you doing?
I can.
Thank you for your call.
They can hear me, right?
Yeah. Anything else you want to say, King?
Oh, yes. I just wanted to say that I love all of you. I wanted to tell my mother how strong she is as a woman. I tell her this often, but it never hurts to hear it 100 more times. You know, she has to deal with a lot at home, and there are so many things within her that she has only just begun to unlock and allow herself to heal from. So I just want to commend her for continuing on that journey, even in the chaos of her everyday life. And know that I love her and I love all of you beautiful Black women on the screen right now.
Thank you. Thank you for your call.
Thank you for your call. We love you too, King.
Of course, I'll talk to y'all later.
All right.
All right.
Anyone else? I thank you for your testimony today, and I have some children who have testimony, and they need to come out and tell their testimony, because if it's on your heart, you need to bring it out. That's a ministry.
It is.
Somebody else close to you is going through, and they need you to tell the story. I am so grateful, because as Sister Cassie said, we never knew the reason. We just knew that God was in it.
Yeah.
We
I
was-
want to encourage any other person that's out there that's been through any situation similar to mine, and like my aunt said, I've never been a drug addict, but the devil has tried to put in my head to use drugs to for the pain, or use my body for the pain. And I thank God for being strong enough not to do those things. And I know that it's some that have been in a situation and they feel like it didn't happen. It didn't happen like it did you for me, but just to be encouraged, because as I'm sharing this story, that's the best counseling I have ever had.
Yeah, God.
To
Yeah,
be able to share to another young person.
yeah.
And where my aunt is saying she's donating towards my ministry, I've been here in Iowa for probably over 10 years, on and off, over 20 years. And I have worked in nonprofit, working with youth and with the school district. And I've been giving my ministry to different organizations, and they've been taking my ideas and using it to establish their own. And this before this corona hit, I went and spoke to one of my teachers, and I said, I'm not coming back to education, and I'm not going back to working with no one else nonprofit and them taking what I have and using it for their own. I need to do what I need to do to establish me. And this is the same thing King just got online, and I told him, I said, you go and you perform and you give out to everyone your gift, but you need to open up your own doors and give to the people what you have, and not just letting someone else use what you have. And so for today, even though some may say that $500 isn't a lot, it's a lot to me. And I would not touch that $500 until I start and open up the doors that I supposed to open.
Yes, yes.
And I appreciate everyone that came on the show today to help me just bring out, the inner 12-year-old me.
Yes.
And, I love each and every one of you all. And everyone that's listening, be encouraged and encourage someone else with this story.
That's right. I want to say, when I was graduating from high school, I forgot. I said social worker. Years later, when I look, and this is what I'm talking to you, Liz, is that when something is meant for you, social work was the extension of my career. And I worked in a nonprofit organization who stole a lot of ideas from me. The alternate was when they printed a book, and I looked at the book and I had no credit. You can, if God is using you, you're not going to lose your reward. I would recommend to you, get in touch with the Park District, get in touch with the police department, get in touch with the rape counselor, and tell them that you have a testimony. Some other young person might need to hear, okay, this happened to you July 4th, but let me tell you what happened to me, and you can make it. And so in a support group environment, somebody might need to hear. But what I'm saying is, many times there are things that we do, we may not get the credit for, but God knows you did it. And you may decide as you begin to network a little bit more and say, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the dollar store and I'm going to give away some gifts. And I did workshops where I didn't get any payment, but I gave $10 store gifts away just to get the people in there. So ask the Lord to guide you.
I want to stop here. Sometimes things occur to me so random. But I would like for you, Mother Caston, and you, Overseer Randall, I would like for you to look at Melissa, that 12-year-old girl, and tell her that you're sorry. And you may say to yourself, well, what I have to be sorry for? Sorry because we didn't know what to do, and that's no excuse.
Right. That's right.
For every evangelist, every preacher, there's no excuse not to know what to do. If you have to call in somebody. So I'm going to give you that opportunity now. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to, but I just feel led to that.
Amen. I repent of everything that I've heard. I'm sorry, listen. I feel like, amen, my prayers went on, but I didn't know. Sometimes people try to keep things secret.
That's right.
And you don't express it out. If I'd have known it, I've even the incident not too long ago was we missed nephew, and we all and I sent the Holy Ghost.
That's right.
That's right. While they found that child already in the store.
On the north side of that.
Oh, he didn't know where to go.
Thank you,
But
Lord.
prayer was moving.
Yes,
prayer,
yes,
prayer was good, amen.
Yes.
So I'm sorry if I don't know if I was there that night, but I know if I heard it, I prayed.
Yeah, God.
So ask you forgive me for maybe not
Thank you,
giving
Jesus.
you advice or whatever.
Yes, Jesus.
Thank God for that
Lord.
story I hear today.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord.
I like to say to Melissa, I'm sorry. But if you know better, you do better. Yes, as a person, mother, whatever. I could have been that person, but I was trying not to injure you more mentally by putting that pressure on you. You are one of the most precious things in my life. You're not just my daughter. You're the daughter I ordered from you.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus.
Because I wanted a daughter.
Thank you, Lord.
And I probably would have been the person stalking that neighborhood, trying to kill that man. But thank God, somebody took that battle up. And that mother said she emptied her gun chasing that man. So God took that battle up and he was caught. Now I want you to forgive me. I didn't know any better And I was trying to follow the protocol of those who I respected as knowing better. And in all these years, anytime you went to talk to me,
Yes, Jesus.
I would have listened.
Yes, Jesus.
I love you.
Yes, Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you all very much. And you just reminded me, Sister Caston, how when God started blessing, I had all those boys. I had like about 4 boys.
That's right.
5 boys.
We both wanted girls.
And when you started having girls, I told God, I said, God, if you can give her a girl, you can give me a girl.
Thank you.
So that helped encourage me to pray for the wonderful daughter that I have. And I know I have not always made good decisions. And
That's right.
maybe I haven't always spoken what I should have. But I'm even sorry to my daughter.
Thank you, Jesus.
We as mothers, we gotta love our children, but we gotta love our daughters because they're the mother of the earth. And I'm very proud of her. And I just thank you for coming on today. I'm good. Thank you for coming on today. And I think everybody had a lot of difficulties. The devil was mad. He didn't want that testimony to go forth.
Wonderful. Thank you.
But we got to learn to tell the truth. And the truth shall set us free. Well,
let me say too that there are a lot of people that listen to this broadcast and they don't say anything, they listen. And this is the thing about it. Do not pick up the phone and call me. Because when you were on before, a lot of people ask me, what's the rest of Melissa's story? And see, they're not interacting. And this is what I told Sister Camper. I said, Sister Camper, it's a small journey for me to come and be on this broadcast. And if I'm not doing something effective,
yes,
I won't make it. Yes. And I said, all those people that's listening to it, you're not saying anything, you're not interacting, then Pastor Brenda is right on top. Sister Camper is not going to keep coming out and making it. So I love you, and I will keep praying for you, and I want you to pray for me.
Do we have another caller? Sister Melissa, do you want to have some final remarks?
Well, you know what? We don't have another caller, but Fontaine Cables from Mississippi, he asked the question, what do you do about family members if they're the ones that hurt you?
If they what?
What do you do about family members if they are the ones that hurt you? Fontaine Cables from Mississippi.
Well, Fontaine, I just want to say this to you. We all woke up this morning, but we didn't have to.
That's right.
And if you wake up and you feel like somebody's got something against me or I got something against somebody, pick up your phone, use a telegram, anywhere you can, and let them know. Why don't you like me? Sometimes you don't even know people have something against you. Open your mouth and speak. Because somebody could love you dearly. And you know what? Family may talk about you, they may abuse you, they may come against you, but hey, when it go down, family gonna stand with you. So just know that the family does care. Monisa, did you have any last words?
Not as enemies to deal with you that can hurt. You know, when people are sitting down and talking about you, they'll talk about your mother, they'll talk about your mate, talk about your children. Now, when family hurt you, that's the trick of the enemy. Because family is to work together. My mother used to say, it was 11 of us. She said, even Camper, we almost the same way. We got to fighting or snatching over a piece of clothes or something. And our parents came in the room, they said, what y'all doing? I said, nothing. We could not fight. My dad said the war, and I told my children, no, the war is not in this house, it's outside. If something happens outside the house, you all have each other's back. So what I'm saying is, yes, that's a deep cut when family hurts you. But you got the family. We don't have to be friends when you get to be adults. And you know what? The brothers and sisters that you couldn't hardly make it with when you was teenagers, you ain't got to visit them. but live peacefully so that when y'all meet at the weddings and the picnics, the funerals, you can get in there without fighting each other. They're not your family, they're your family.
Amen. Amen. Well, I'm truly grateful that everybody was here today. I want to end by saying, Monique, did you have any last words?
Just look. She got sound?
Messenger, do you have a last word?
I can hear. This was a very good show today,
Yeah.
and thank God for each one of you. Thank God for you, Melissa. Keep going.
I'd like to hear you say, Melissa, how you feel. Is anything resolved?
Can Melissa hear
You
us?
asking me or Monique?
Yeah, I said, how do you feel?
She's asking the other M.
Melissa, yeah.
What was the question?
How do you feel?
Do you feel better now?
Yeah.
I feel a lot better.
Great.
I feel a lot better.
Great.
And I it's just a confirmation. What this show today is just a confirmation to help me push myself to what I've been trying to do.
Thank you, Lord.
And so I appreciate you all today. And I just want to say that, and I love you all.
Thank you.
Do you really?
No, I do.
Is a special day. Today is Moses' birthday. He's 19 years old today.
Yay.
At one time in his life, just before he graduated, Moses had a breakdown because he wanted to know his mother. And as much as I loved him all his life, I couldn't fulfill that hole. And when he ran away because he was trying to find his mother, I was so hurt, all I could do, Melissa, was pray. I went to the schools after he missed almost a month out of school, and the principal said, "We know Moses, we got his back." Because there are praying people in this world everywhere.
Yes.
They prayed, and finally Moses came home, but he wasn't right. And there was a lady that was a teacher in that school, Miss Ware, came to my house and knocked on the door. She said, "I want to take Moses to church with me. We're a village. It may not be in your church, but it might be in somebody else's church." She took Moses to church, and he didn't want to wear his nice clothes. He didn't want to wear nice shoes. He gets straight out of bed. He didn't brush his teeth, just came straight down. And I said, "Oh, you're not going anywhere like that." She said, "I got this.
Yeah.
I got this."
Yes.
And I tell her all the time when I go there, I say, "You help heal Moses.
Yes, Lord.
You help heal him because he has much work to do."
Yes, Lord.
The 19-year-old boy came this far by grace. And God's going to bless him abundantly. Miss Ware was just one of the many people in the village.
Right.
And today we are just in the village to help the children that are in the village.
Yes.
So I thank God for you today. Continue on the work. I feel gratified in my heart because I say all the time, "Lord, have we done enough work to help other people come on and continue the work?" I feel like you're going to help continue the work.
Yes.
Amen. Thank God for you. Are there any more callers before I close out?
Yes, we have a caller from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Caller, go ahead.
How are you guys doing?
Doing fine. Thank you.
This is Andrew. I'm calling just to say I'm enjoying the show. I actually had to step away from something to be a part of this show, and I'm glad that I was able to catch even the small portion that I have heard. And I wanted to just say, because I know you guys are about to conclude, that the hurt that people experience and the stuff that they've been through their childhood, whether it be abuse or other things, that's something that is so personal, and it's something that no one can really understand unless you explain to them in detail. But the key thing is support. You got to keep talking about it so to kind of release those things. And so I really believe that support is the only way that you're going to get through these things. So I think this is a great thing that this panel is doing to talk about these things. and bring light to it. And so God bless you for that. We continue to support each other, because a lot of times Black people, we don't have true therapy. Even our pastors, and I know there's ministers here on the panel, it's like sometimes you have to ask God, like, what advice do I give this person? I have no idea. I don't know what to tell them. And I have to be led by God. I don't know what to do. This is bigger than me. So yeah, I do think that that's one thing we have to do is to be supportive. The second thing I would like to say is that we have to departmentalize some of these pains, because it will stop you from being the greatest person you could possibly be.
That's right.
See, the last thing I'm just saying, yeah, you have to talk it out. You got to be supported. But then even at a certain point, when you start getting of age, you have to departmentalize that. When you start having your own children, when you start having your own responsibilities, when you become in charge of other staff members at work, things like that. All these things kind of come out at the wrong time. And I think that if possible, with the therapy support, if you could just start departmentalizing these things and not let it come out in the middle of nowhere. So that's something, and I'm saying that for myself. I'm not speaking about anybody else. I know that that's something I had to learn. Yeah. Being, sensitive at times, and it's just like a person that we're talking, and then all of a sudden it's just like an issue that I'm going through come out, and that's just like they catch all of that weight. So, I mean, I think that we do have to learn to departmentalize such things. So that's my second point. And you guys are doing a wonderful job.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I want to say in our conclusion that I'm not going to beg you. I'm going to ask you. If you have any donations, I think they have a way of putting up the site that they're asking for donations. We're constantly giving people. A lot of times you don't even know the people we're blessing, but God has given us that, and he has made a way. And every time you seed into the ministry, I guarantee you, as I be a woman of God, you're going to be blessed.
Thank you, Lord.
If not, call my number and tell me I gave X amount of dollars and I didn't get anything back. Because God said, I'll bless you, press down, and I'll run it over.
Overflow.
You think you're going to get a stimulus check, you end up getting 3.
Overflow.
But God.
Thank you, Jesus.
You went to the bank and you thought you had 500, you had 5,000.
Thank you, Lord.
But God. So we thank God for
Thank you, Jesus.
I know he's real.
Thank you, Jesus.
If don't nobody serve him, I know he's real.
Thank you, Lord.
He's a way maker, a heart fixer, and a mind regulator. I love him today. I love him today because he's worthy of praise.
Thank you, Lord.
Don't nobody praise him. He's still worthy.
Thank you, Jesus.
If we don't never go back to the church, he's still worthy. We're going to cry loud and spare not. If we can just save our family.
Thank you, Lord.
Save the family.
Thank you, Jesus.
Mr. Caston.
Thank you, Jesus.
Sister, your daughter, will you pray our prayer as we go out?
Oh, Lord. Boy, we thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for this day.
Hey, God.
This time. Oh, God.
Hey, God.
Lord, we open up our hearts that we might receive this in your word. Let it be the God that will heal us. A man. Somebody needs to hear a word from you. It is in your power that we've come this far. And we overcome by the words of our testimony. Everywhere we go, Lord, take the temple, even our natural buildings are great, Lord. Minister to our hearts and minds, Lord. Let us try to have a mind to turn around and come back to the church. Lord, the men and women have been destructive to the ministry, Lord. Help them to realize the fact they care about you because they care about you. Lord, bless you, Lord, to look on each one that heard this word today. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Don't let it be in vain, Lord. Don't let it come up with you, Lord. Oh, God, and we thank you because if we do your work, you're going to take care of us. In the name of Jesus, we thank you. Thank you, Lord.
Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you, Lord.
Amen.
All right. God, never was a light. Not a show.
Amen.
Have a phenomenal day. See you on Friday.
Thank you.
Here comes the rain. Pouring down my face like the tears of a million days. Crying out for you. Let me show you in the sun, in the room, you probably but that's all. Words alone and happiness have to swim. It's gonna be there to bring us hurt to the end. In the love, not the war we inside. Singing it to you, I just can't get away. The story is never about the way I would like to live. I had to let you go. I can't keep holding on to something that won't last. Don't ever let me go. I think I'm too late. My heart will come to that. Other things come to late. And never let me go. I had to let you go. I can't keep holding on to something that won't last. Don't ever let me go. There's something come to late. My heart will come to that. Other things come to late. And never let me go. Never thought twice about things that could go wrong. It's like the wind came racing and brought in my storm. You said you love me, you be there for me. You like energy that makes